Yum, yum!
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pixel Fondue. My name is Chris. Well, we've got this alien bug head thing in ZBrush now. It's pretty much set up so we can start sculpting and do some painting and do basically what ZBrush is pretty good at. We've got this ready to go. I think everything is going to go smoothly with this. We've got the tongue, the teeth, the gums, the head, the lids, the eye, and the antennas. Let's see, I've gone through, once I brought this in, I went through and made sure, let me see how we get this reorder. Okay, so what I did, I wanted to go through and make sure I had all my UVs. If you have a subtool selected, you can see here in the UV, if you can delete the UV, like if this thing is showing up active, if things are all grayed out, that means you don't have a UV, right? You won't be able to morph them, you won't be able to delete them. But if you've got these things showing up, you can play with that. Let's see. The head, I've decided that 4K was going to be okay for the head. Same thing with the, I almost said antlers, but these are actually antenna. Right, the antenna's 4K, same thing. I'm going to do 4K with the lids, 4K with the eyeballs. But down here in the mouth, the tongue, I really don't need. I could probably even go down to, probably down to a 1K probably if I wanted to, but I'll just leave it there. Teeth, same thing, making sure I don't need that much detail down there. It's not what this is about. Right. And the gums in there. I'm just making sure I got these set up right. Yeah, okay, no problem. Right, this is going to be ready to go. All right, I've got it all saved up. My next step is I'm going to grab some alphas, make sure I have those things ready to go. Some custom alphas and some alphas that are available just about anywhere online. If you type in alpha, you can kind of get a little batch of things that can help you do your sculpting and painting. All right, let's see. Okay, here on the side note, you get to see some of the reference I've pulled together to kind of get some idea what I want to do with this. You can see some of this stuff here. I mean, you can see there's just a ton of detail in an ant's head, right? But this is actually an alien bug head, so I don't really have to follow too much of this, right? But I wanted to have as much as I could just to kind of get some ideas, right, for what I'm going to want to do here. All kinds of weird things. These electron microscope photographs are really good at kind of giving ideas for what kind of detail is really present on some of these little animals. You can see all this stuff here is pretty cool, right? Showing some of the eyeball, all those little details. Now, the model I'm going to be making, I'm not going to be going in and doing all these little spurs and all these little hairs and spikes. Not part of this project. But I'm going to do a lot of this kind of thing over here that you can see in this blurry image, right? I think that's a pretty cool one too. I thought that was all right. She's showing some of the eyeballs. That's pretty cool. Anyway, this is some of the reference I'll be looking at while I'm actually doing the actual work. Show some interesting things on those surface of these little carapaces. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, we got about 4 minutes worth of a sped up session. I think this session was somewhere around about 40 minutes. From beginning to end, it was about a 40-minute session. You can kind of see me right now. I'm just kind of looking at my subtool palette, and just organizing things there. Getting the thing ready to start. Setting up my my brush. Somehow I jumped to that inflate brush, but I wanted to jump back out. Okay, I'm on my clay brush now. I use this for a lot of things. Once I've got my main shapes done, I usually jump into my clay brush and I start putting in some, at least the base for the higher frequency details that'll come in the next session. Right, I don't want to stray too far from what I have now. I don't want to push or pull too much because the basic silhouette's there. I want to kind of keep that. So I'm just kind of cutting and pulling away from these basic polygons. I don't want to get too crazy with the sculpting and yanking things and pulling things and pushing things too much. Right, I liked what I had with the model from Moto. Now I'm just kind of adding some eye candy for shapes and trying to move the eyeball around. You'll see me jumping around from the front of the model, back of the model, side of the model, bottom of the model. It's a good thing to keep your eye moving, keep your model spinning around so you're not spending too much time on one area. That way you don't get too far ahead of yourself if things stop working very well. Right, but if you got some good reference, it's not too bad. That reference you saw just a moment ago is actually on my other monitor, so I'm able to see that while I'm working. So what I'm doing now, I'm just trying to make sure I'm cutting in some simple forms into this model that the next session I'll start putting in a lot of the high frequency detail when I start breaking out the alphas. You'll see this come up in a moment once I kind of get my mask set. See that inflate? That inflate balloon's pretty nice stuff. I use that a lot when I'm doing these kind of, let's see, the first sessions on detailing, right? Well, not the high frequency details, but the middle frequency detailing. Just getting something good to look at, some shapes that all of the high frequency details and alphas will sit on top of. I don't want to get too crazy because I want to have some fun with this when we get back into Moto. Those eyelids are going to be a little tricky, right? Where those eyelids and that brow and cheek area kind of come together is going to be a little interesting to work out. I'm kind of dropping in this jawline in here. If it doesn't fit really good with the model as I come back into Moto and do some of the deformations and that jawbone, if it doesn't look that good, I can play with the weight maps still, right? The base mesh is pretty low res, so I can probably get away with doing some things there if I need to. Just weight map control to make that jaw look good when it's open or closed or moving about. And as usual, I usually use this, it says Pro Clay. Let's see, just a simple little clay brush I made that's not too much different from the regular clay brush. But I use this brush for most of my sculpting, right? I don't get too crazy unless I need something specific. You see those brushes on the side there. Those are the ones I usually have open, and those are my go-to brushes when I need them. I don't stray too far from it. I feel like if I have too many brushes available, I tend to spend too much time going between brushes instead of just getting the sculpt out, right? I did a quick little save. The back of the head isn't going to be shown in what I'm going to finally use this for, but I'm having a little bit of fun just getting the carapace slices in places and just kind of making it kind of build up a little bit. Kind of interesting, kind of fun for me. Yeah, you can kind of see how I kind of dig a hole, kind of fill it in, dig a hole, work around it, build it up, dig a hole. It's just pushing and pulling the surface of the mesh in and out. You didn't notice right there, but if I got a good arc, I'll hit the 1 key when I'm done with it and it just doubles the stroke, right? As long as you don't move anything, you hit the 1 key and it'll double your stroke. It just puts the same stroke on top of the same stroke. I don't think I do it too much in this model, but if you got some tricky stuff and you spend a little time getting a nice stroke down, a nice curve, or just a nice sculpt line, you'd hit the 1 key and it will double it. It'll just put it right back on top of itself. Now you see me use this balloon again just to pull that the cheeks in. Now you can see me I'm leaving some room in those segments, right at the between the segments, just so it gives me some options a little bit later. I don't want to get too tight right now. Now I might want to move those around some, so I'm not getting too tight. Overall, we're coming to the end of this session. The next session I'll probably work a little bit more on the head and the face, bring the eyeballs and the antennas in. I won't be doing too much to the gums, the tongue, or the teeth. I'm probably just going to leave those the way they are just to speed things up. I don't think I need too much. I think just painting detail on the tongue and the teeth will be all I need to do. Now you see me taking a little time doing a mask of this crevice. Then I'm going to use that same inflate deformation just to help to cut that thing in. You'll see it work. You know, masking is our friend in ZBrush. You have a lot of friends in ZBrush as you spend some more time with it. Yeah, you see that come in. So that's about it for this time. Bye.
Yum, yum!